guys, it is time to get this call started. Well, I want to give you a quick Empower Me Now moment before we start. I want you guys to remember that when you walk next to someone, either they adjust their pace to yours or you adjust your pace to theirs. So what does that say to you? You've got to be careful who you hang around. So you want to hang around with those positive people, those people who are going great places, who are doing awesome things, people who will encourage and edify you and say to you, hey, that's possible. I see the winner in you. I see the champion in you. And you want to be that kind of edifier to other people as well. And so I tell people you can't fly with the eagles if you're hanging around with the turkeys. But I'm telling you, folks, you will definitely be flying with the eagles when you become part of this Jubi Rev, Jubi Max family. And so tonight, to show you how you can soar and fly high, is a gentleman who is just making waves in this industry, came from humble beginnings, just kept the faith, persevered, and went on to be a multiple seven-figure earner. So to bring this information on Jubi Rev, Jubi Max to us tonight is the awesome Mr. T. Lamont Silver. Are you out there, T. Lamont?
I certainly am out here in Phoenix, Arizona. We have just finished up 2 amazing days with our presidential meet and greet as we met with President of the company, J. Joshua Beisel. It was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And at the end of the webinar, I'll tell you just a little bit about some of that. We'll have an optional session. We'll have an optional Q&A. Let's go on and get started. We've got tremendous attendance on this webinar, as we always do. I want to welcome to all of our new guests that are looking at Jubi Rev, Jubi Max for the very first time. For those of you that are already committed to Jubi Rev, Jubi Max, thank you also for coming out. Now, as you see here on your screen, and I am in a hotel. I haven't had the best internet connection, unfortunately, so someone on the other side is going to be doing our slides for us. If you hear me say next slide, I'm simply instructing the person who's helping us out to move forward to the next slide. On the bottom left-hand corner, you're going to see Jubi Rev. That is our marketing arm of bottom right-hand corner, Jubi Max. Jubi Max is our customer portal. Now, we are in pre-launch right now. We just came out of pre-registration, which is where people were pre-enrolling. Pre-launch is where we're getting ready to get ready, and then very soon we'll enter into our soft launch. Now, we've been in this industry, ladies and gentlemen, 19 years. Like most people, we struggled early on. And it was actually through the tutelage and the mentorship of the young lady who just introduced me, Aya Boomy Moore, Boomy for short, and her parents, Zeke and Jerry Stewart, that we made our first big splash in the industry. We've been able now to build 4 7-figure businesses. And I only tell you this to let you know that we know how to spot opportunity in this industry. And I have never been more excited about any opportunity in my 19 years than I am about Jubi Rev, because of what we're going to talk about, Jubi Rev, Jubi Max, how it's going to impact you today. So now listen, what I want you to notice is at the top left-hand corner there, a hand is sticking out ready to give you some money. Now, though we've been in the industry 19 years and we struggled early on, we finally hit our stride. And I bought the dream, Tyron in Trinidad. I met one of the personal enrollees here in Phoenix. I bought the dream of getting to the point of $10,000 a month. And I really thought, Liz from Louisiana, once I got there, that I was going to be on top of the mountain. Kevin from California, we got there, and then the $15,000 and $20,000 a month. And what we were not prepared for, Dr. Glenn from California, was the empty feeling we felt, knowing that the majority of our teammates, Bill Rock On from Alabama, were not making money. That's an empty feeling. Until a couple of years ago, we ran across a new compensation model in our industry that changed everything. We're going to talk about that, but you need to understand the income opportunity is only as good as the product offering. So you're going to hear us talk a little bit about the products tonight. You see the young lady there with skincare. So we've got a line of products that deal with everything from beauty, weight loss, energy, vitality, to travel, as you see the couple there, to online shopping. So we've got this concept called net zero consumables, where people are going to be able to spend money they're already spending. We're not asking them to spend new money. Spend money they're already spending, but in a more cost-efficient way so that they wind up wanting to spend that through you and through the company. Next slide, please. All right, so now, Jubi Rev, Jubi Max, the name Jubi, I've got to be honest with you, when I first heard it, I thought, what in the world is a Jubi? Well, Anthony, here's the deal, my friend. Jubi is short for jubilant. And jubilant means triumphant among a number of meanings. And what we saw a couple of years ago when we stumbled upon, bumped into, tripped over, Bridget, you are doing a phenomenal job building your business, young lady. I am so proud of you. When we tripped over this model, we saw our average person finally being able to win. So we saw that average everyday people started completely changing their lifestyles in record time. So we saw folks like Lynn from Virginia, who has followed us for years, just as committed, loyal as they come, probably about 8 years before we stumbled upon this model. And yet Lynn had a very tough time recruiting people into her business, had a tough time selling enough product to even make enough money to cover her monthly auto ship. If anyone has ever been like Lynn, open up your questions box. Let me tell you what Lynn would do. Lynn would invite someone to a meeting or a conference call or a webinar, and they wouldn't show up. If that's ever happened to you, open up your questions box, put a Y. Then Lynn would invite someone to a conference call, meeting, webinar. They would show up, but then they would never return her phone call. If that's ever happened to you, open up your questions box and put a Y. Then Lynn would invite someone to a conference call, webinar, business meeting. They would show up. They would join. And then she'd never hear from them again. If that's ever happened to you, open up your questions box and put a Y. You see, Lynn is much like so many people in this industry. Great people. You can't ever question their heart or their determination. It just wasn't working for them. But when we stumbled upon this model a couple of years ago, where the companies share up to 50% of its daily commissionable sales volume, we saw Lynn in a few short months at the point, even though she still wasn't great at recruiting, she was making enough to make a car payment. A few months after that, making enough to make a house note. A few months after that, she was making enough to have a full-time income. We're going to talk about that on tonight. So Jubi means triumphant. We want our Jubi Rev, all of our teammates all across the globe, whether you're in Indonesia or you're in Indiana, we want you to be triumphant. Jubi also means thrilled, excited, elated, exuberant. And we want our customers to be thrilled, excited, elated, and exuberant about our products. Next slide, please. So, ladies and gentlemen, Jubi Rev, we have a huge vision. Our vision, ladies and gentlemen, is to spark a global economic movement and lead the revenue-sharing revolution while at the same time empowering people all across the globe. Our friends from Trinidad building a phenomenal business, or maybe you're in Canada, maybe you're in Australia, maybe you're in New Zealand, maybe you're in Malaysia, empowering people all across the globe to look good, next slide, feel good, and live good. Now, in order to carry out a vision, we need a visionary leader. And ladies and gentlemen, the next time, this was not a major company event from the standpoint. This was really just a meet and greet with our president. It was something that he wanted to do for leaders that want to get a chance to come in and fly in since we're in pre-launch. I'm going to tell you, it's the classiest event that I've seen with the company in a pre-launch. You know, when the president has you picked up, hear me, when the president has you picked up, those who attended, and he transports us around town in a stretch Hummer limo, and the company, you know, no one's even purchased a thing yet. That's pretty impressive. Coming on top of the company recently having given away $9,000 in webinar promotions. Mr. J. Joshua Beisel is our president, ladies and gentlemen. He comes with executive experience. He knows how to run businesses. He's been in the traditional business arena. He's been in the home business arena, taking a borrowed budget of $55.36 and parlaying that into multiple seven-figure businesses. And we got a chance to visit his company, where he is the founder and CEO of the largest telemarketing center or phone room, I should say, in the home business industry. We probably saw at least 60 people hard at work as we visited there over the last a couple of days. Next slide, please. So he's our president, ladies and gentlemen. He is a visionary leader. Some corporate highlights. We are registered out of the British Virgin Islands. We've got our first international office, when I say international, outside the U.S. office, that will be opening up very, very soon. Pay attention to that over the next few weeks. There'll be other offices across the globe that will be opening up other international locations. We've got customer support, ladies and gentlemen. We've got customer support not just in the U.S., but again across the globe. Our programming team, again, programming across the globe, and all in-house. In-house support, in-house programming, in-house attorneys, as well as some of the top MLM compensation attorneys to make sure that we had a compliant business model, a compliant compensation plan going forward. Next slide. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've got the infrastructure. Again, JubiRev is the marketing arm of Jubi Max. We're going to leave the revenue sharing revolution. And remember, not just a company, next slide, it's a movement. We are marketing again for Jubi Max, where we want you to look good, feel good, next slide, and live good. Okay, so now let's talk about this model, this revenue sharing model that really has completely revolutionized our industry, allowing Joe and Sue Average, who may not be good at recruiting, may not be good at sponsoring, to still generate revenues, not just monthly, not just weekly, but on a daily, next slide, on a daily basis. Now, we're in pre-launch. We're just a few, hear me, a few short weeks from entering into our soft launch. When our soft launch starts, that's when what I'm about to share is going to start. So we're just a few short weeks away from this. This is our JubiRev Daily Leadership Bonus, and this is where the company, as it generates revenues on a daily basis, is going to share up to 50%, sometimes even more, of its daily commissionable sales volume with all of we qualified promoters. In a few moments, I'm going to show you just how simple it can be to qualify to be a promoter. And here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, it does not require that you have to recruit or sponsor other promoters, next slide, in order for you to generate revenue. Now, before we get into the crux of the compensation model, the company's going to pay us 10 ways. I won't cover all 10 ways tonight. I'll highlight one, maybe one and a half. We need to understand that the income opportunity, next slide, is only as good as the product offering. Next slide. So let's start to talk a little bit about our products. Now, what was very important to our president, J. Joshua Beisel, is that our products and services follow the principle of what he calls net zero consumables, meaning that these are already high demand products and services that people are already spending money for. One of the challenges in this industry is that very often if you were promoting a company or a business, that maybe you were promoting a product or service that the customer wasn't already spending money for. So now we were essentially asking them to generate or create a new bill. We don't want to do that. We know that billions of dollars are already sold in skincare. Skincare. My wife, I go past her cosmetic counter, there's a lot of skincare there. She's already spending money in skincare. We're not having to re-educate her. We're just going to provide a competitive advantage for her to shift her spending over to Jubi Max. We call that transfer spending or net zero consumables. Next slide. What about weight loss? What about weight loss? Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the highest keyword areas in Google. You know, people looking to lose weight. They're already spending money on weight loss products or weight loss services, things that are designed, next slide, to help them lose weight. So someone that wants to lose weight, that's something they may already be spending money on. There are great companies in our industry that their entire niche product is centered around weight loss. Well, weight loss is a great product, but it's only one of our products. Then we've got energy. Energy. I mean, are people spending a lot of money on energy products? Certainly. What about vitality? And all you've got to do is look at how she's looking at him, how he's looking at her. This is a family show. You can probably figure out what that product does. And I think we had the opportunity to speak with the manufacturer. Now, I'm a promoter just like you. I was just commissioned to help present and train Then obviously as more and more leaders pop up, there'll also be other voices. And so in my training capacity, I wanted to better understand some things about the product and products, I should say. And so when we were talking with the manufacturer a couple weeks ago, I just assumed, being a dude, that the male formula was flying off the shelf, as it is. What I was not prepared for is to find out about the female formula and just how that female formula they can't keep in stock either. So again, these are products, next slide, that people are already spending money on. Now we've got a Jubi trainer. You'll learn more about that. That really is going to go a lot with the weight loss series. But let's talk about Jubi rebates. Because what J. Joshua Beisel understood, our visionary leader and president, is that while we have these great products and services, and a lot of products I haven't even talked about, there are a lot of retailers like Walmart and like Best Buy and like Target where people are spending a lot of money every single month. My family and I, we spend several hundreds of dollars at Walmart. And so the question was, is there a way to leverage that where we could transfer spend to a mall that Jubi has, let's call it Jubi rebates, and as we transfer spend, we as the consumers and as customers that aren't even related to the income opportunity, they could win. They could actually not just have a net zero consumable, but they could actually save money. And so we were going to have our Jubi rebates where when a person goes in and they go to Walmart through our portal and they purchase whatever they're going to purchase, maybe they even get a gift card so they can go to their local Walmart, they're going to get 2%, maybe 3%. In some cases with some stores, maybe 1-800-Flowers, Target, Office Max, it might be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10% cash back. Mama said. Cindy Joy, got a chance to meet you today. It was great meeting you. My webinar mom, she makes sure I stay in line. Cindy, Mama said a penny saved is a penny earned. Now, here's why this is going to be so significant. Not only are customers going to save money in effect because they get a rebate, but this is going to be significant because every transaction that goes through that portal is also going to create additional revenue for the company. And the company is going to share a portion of that with us on a daily basis. Next slide. Now, so you look at all of this and you say, oh my gosh, they've got online shopping, they've got travel. I hadn't even talked about travel. This is going to be such a fun part of our business. Travel is going to be a huge part of our business, ladies and gentlemen, where folks can travel. Our Jubi resorts, you'll be able to go to over 2,000 different resort condominium vacation spots in over 85 countries, no timeshare presentations, no monthly payments. You just decide where you want to go, when you want to go, find out what the inventory is available, book an 8-day, 7-night vacation. I'm really excited about this. My family and I, we love to travel. As a matter of fact, in 2 weeks from now, my lovely wife and I will be in the Dominican Republic, and a few days after that, we'll be in Chile. And so when we heard that Jubi Rev, Jubi Max was going to have a travel component, we were just so excited about that. Next slide, if you would, please. So now what you've seen here is Jubi is putting all of these tremendous industries where money is already being spent under one roof. Now let's give our Jubi Rev, Jubi Max promoters an even greater incentive or a greater competitive edge. Here's our competitive edge. We've got two major competitive advantages. Other than the fact they're all under one roof, we are able to give to our customers samples of our product. So maybe Eileen here wants to sample skincare, or maybe you know someone that wants to sample weight loss. Just think about if someone got a 30-day, not a little 2 or 3 day sample. What if they got a 30-day weight loss sample and they lost 8 pounds, 10 pounds, 12 pounds during that a 30-day weight loss sample? What if they got the skincare and they started noticing, someone said, oh, you look like you're looking a little bit younger there. What are you doing? Are they going to want to come back and get more of that product once they run out of their sample? You better believe it. So we're going to sample. We know sampling works. When you go into the shopping mall and you were going through the food court, oh my gosh, the food smells so good. And somebody at one of the restaurants say, hey, here, take a sample. You took the sample. Oh my gosh, that is really good. Hey, what's that called? I want to order some of that. What's the whole idea of the sample? That once you finish the sample, you like the product, you like the service so much that perhaps you became a customer. And then ultimately, maybe you come back, and then ultimately, in this day of social media, next slide, in this day of social media, maybe you tell someone else. So we're going to be able to give away samples to our customers. The best part about sampling is that you're not going to have to buy a bunch of product that you store up in your garage or in your basement. We're going to be able to have virtual inventory, and our customer will be able to go to our site and simply register to get a free sample. They'll cover the shipping and handling, and ladies and gentlemen, they get the free sample shipped directly to their home. Now, the other competitive advantage is something that is really special and unique to us. We call them Jubi Bucks. Jubi Bucks. I want you to think of it like this. So that's Kim featured here. Maybe you knew her, maybe you didn't. Maybe through some advertising methods, because you and I will be placing an ad once a day to help brand the name of Jubi Max. And so maybe she stumbled upon your advertisement where you were advertising that you're giving away a free skincare sample or a free vitality sample or what have you. So she got the sample, loved the product, she's running out of the product, she wants to buy some more. Well, we can then give her Jubi Bucks. A Jubi Buck is a dollar for dollar discount on the price of the product. So here we go. Kim comes into our Jubi Max shopping portal, our Jubi branded products. She goes to the checkout. She's getting some skincare. It's $100 US at the checkout. Okay. She whips out her credit card. Wait a minute. You've given her 50 Jubi Bucks. She gets to apply the 50 Jubi Bucks towards the $100 outlay. And as much as we love our Jubi rebates, well, she's going to get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10% back in maybe 30 days or 60 days, depending on the merchant. This is even a better deal for her because now she gets a right now win. Marlene, win. A Matthew, win. A right now Sean discount. And so this gives us a huge competitive advantage. We can give people samples. Possession is 9/10 of the law. And then we can also give them Jubi Bucks that gives them a right now discount off of these products. Now let's go to the next slide, ladies and gentlemen. By now, if you're visiting us for the first time, you should see, wait a minute, I haven't seen it on this wise before. This is not any concept I've seen before. This is going to be huge. With or without me, this is going to be huge. Let's talk about the money. Next slide. Now, the company is going to pay us 10 dynamic ways. Don't have time to cover all 10. I'm going to talk about the Jubi Rev Daily Leadership Bonus. That's the daily revenue. And I'll talk slightly next slide about what happens should you bump into, trip over, stumble upon someone that wants to join you in the business. Maybe you happen to build a referral network. So let's talk about, next slide, the daily leadership bonuses. Now, in order for us to really comprehend this, we need to understand something called a Jubi point. A Jubi point is what the company is going to look at to determine your pro rata share. Now, I want us to think about this for just a moment. See, Bill from Alabama, rock on, Bill. I love your enthusiasm when you come on the webinars. Or Floyd from Louisiana, or Becky from North Carolina, or Peter from Ontario, or Breeley, I hope I said that right, from Trinidad. How do they determine, how does the company determine what your pro rata share is of that day's reward? It's based on the number of Jubi points you have. So the more Jubi points you have, the more share of the daily reward you're going to receive. Okay, so now, this is how you earn Jubi points. It's real simple. Whenever you have a customer register to claim Jubi Bucks, maybe you're giving away Jubi Bucks in your advertisement that you're placing on a daily basis, or they claim access to the Jubi Resort. They want access to the Jubi Resort engine where they can go in and book an 8-day, 7-night vacation, or they actually want a physical sample. Someone wants the vitality sample. Somebody wants an energy sample. Somebody wants a cardio sample with one of our cardio products, which my wife absolutely loves, and her doctor is very pleased with what's happening because of that cardio product. Well, ladies and gentlemen, anytime you give away these samples, you're going to earn Jubi points. Next slide. For instance, for every Jubi Buck you give away to a customer, you're going to earn 1 Jubi point. So in the example, we had you giving away 50 Jubi Bucks to Kim. Well, when you did that, you would have earned 50 Jubi points. Now, the company is going to actually incentivize you to give away more of the samples, not just the bucks, the samples, because the company's feeling is the more customers that get a physical sample in hand, the more customers are going to come back and be repeat customers. So we're going to give you a little incentive if you give someone a weight loss sample, if you give someone a skincare sample. The company's going to look at the sales dollar of that sample. Let's say it's $100, and it's going to actually give you 1.05 points for every sales dollar. So if it was $100 in sales dollars, that would have been 105 in Jubi points. You'll also earn some Jubi points with the Jubi trainer. You'll learn more about that in your training, as well as points, some huge points for the Jubi resorts. Let's go to the next part, please. So now, our attorney wants to make sure that we make it very clear that while we're going to give an example, that the company is sharing its revenues. The company can't guarantee what the revenue is going to be from day to day to day, so as a result, we can't make any income guarantees. What we are going to show here, next slide, is we're going to give you an example of how this works, just so you see how the compensation plan is going to play out in the real world. So this is what will happen. The company is going to take up to 50% of its daily commissionable sales volume, sometimes even more based on its metrics, and it's going to share that with all of our qualified promoters. Now, if you look at the bottom half of this slide, what this means is that the company is going to take the amount of revenue that it's going to share, and it's going to divide that by the number of active Jubi points, so that every Jubi point in the system that night is going to receive the same reward. Hear me. Every Jubi point in the system, whether Joe Average owns those Jubi points, not good at recruiting, Sue Average owns those Jubi points, she's not good at sponsoring, or Joe and Susie Star, Susie Superstar, big, huge business builders earn those points. Everyone earns the same, what we like to refer to, reward, next slide, per point. Okay, so now, what is it going to take for you and I to be able to earn daily? I mentioned you don't have to go out and be a recruiting magnet or a sponsoring guru or anything like that. What will the company do? The company is going to reward us for helping to promote the brand of Jubi Max. So we're going to place an ad a day. And again, these ads are going to be, giving away samples. All right, so we're going to place an ad a day. We're going to give away samples. And if we do that, if you place an ad daily, and I don't mean you're having to go out and purchase advertising space. Some of you may decide to do that, but that is not something that the company said it requires you to do. So if you simply place an ad a day, ladies and gentlemen, along with giving away some samples, you're going to qualify for that day's reward. So let's look at the example here. Next slide. Let's see how this works out. So let's say the company generates on a given day $1 million in sales revenue. $1 million in commissionable sales volume. It goes to its metrics, and based on that day, it decides to share 50%, $500,000, $500,000. Okay. Now, it takes the $500,000 and it's going to divide that $500,000 by the total number of active Jubi points in the system, and so every Jubi point is going to receive a reward. Now, Joe, maybe he's just kind of gotten started, and he's given away a few samples. And based on the samples he's given away of either Jubi Bucks or access to the Jubi Resort engine or actual physical samples, he's earned 100 Jubi points. So when all the calculation is done, every point earns a particular reward, and cumulative that night, he earned 1.25 as his reward, 1.25 bucks. Now, the company is going to pay us in our daily reward in the form of Jubi Bucks. Why is this important to note? Because Jubi Bucks are a form of virtual inventory. Whether we're giving the Jubi Bucks away to Kim for her to use at a dollar-for-dollar discount, or whether we're using the Jubi Bucks in our system to essentially pay for the sample that Kim requested. Okay, so it's important that we are having more and more inventory like any other traditional business, once you sell a product or service or you sample out a product or service, you want to replace that product or service. That's what's happening. We're getting paid in Jubi Bucks. In a few moments, I'll show you how you can actually commission out a very large percentage of your Jubi Buck reward as much as a daily basis. All right, now, let's say that Sue average, she's giving away more samples. So she's got more Jubi points. She's giving away more samples, she's got more Jubi points. She's not any better than Joe, but because she's giving away more samples, 1,000 Jubi points is what she has here, so her reward is the same ratio. It's the same reward per point, but she earns $12.50 in her reward. Julio, he's giving away more samples than Sue. He's not any better. All of his Jubi points earn the same reward as Sue, same reward as Joe. But because he's giving away more samples, maybe he's just been in the business a little bit longer to give away more samples. Maybe he had a little bit more wherewithal when he got started to purchase a little more inventory. I want you to purchase as much virtual inventory in the form of Jubi Bucks as your resources allow, but please just don't hurt your family. All right, so he has 10,000 Jubi points. He earns 125 Jubi Bucks that night. Now what happens, and see, this is what we saw a couple of years ago. We saw Lynn, the young lady, and she's a real person, and she's on the webinar tonight. We saw Lynn go from maybe 100 points, and over time she had 1,000 points. And over time it got to 5,000 and 10,000 and 20,000 and higher, and ultimately she was able to generate enough revenue where she commissioned out enough to make a car payment. Then there was commissioning out enough to make a house note, then commissioning out enough to be able to have a full-time income. Next slide. By the way, what happens if someone builds their Jubi point total to 100,000 Jubi points? We saw people doing that, 500,000 Jubi. We saw people doing that, 1 million Jubi points and more. Okay, now, I mentioned that you're going to be able to commission out a portion of your Jubi Buck reward. You're going to be able to commission out as much as 60%. So if you made 100 Jubi Bucks for the night and you wanted to commission out the maximum of 60%, well then $60 would go into your, what we call your e-cash, and you could then commission it out, or you could pay for your monthly subscription or what have you. And the other 40 would stay in Jubi Bucks. You could use those Jubi Bucks yourself. You can give those away to generate more Jubi points, so on and so forth. Next slide. What I love about these Jubi points is that what they create for every qualified promoter is not monthly, not weekly, but daily residual income. Now, your Jubi points, and I'll come back and explain this a little bit more in a moment, your Jubi points are going to earn anywhere from 80 days. So instead of earning a Jubi point today and it earns for a day or two or three, they're going to earn for 80 days, maybe even 85 days, maybe even 95 days, maybe even 105 days. You do something right one time, it could be earning for you for 105 days. And then the Jubi points you earn tomorrow, they can have a 105-day life cycle. And the Jubi points you earn on April the 17th could have a 105-day life cycle. We'll talk about that more in just a few moments. Next slide, please. Okay, so now what we've talked about so far is what happens if you hadn't told a soul, you hadn't referred anyone. And let me tell you what we saw with this model. Okay, let me tell you what we saw. We saw a lot of our Joe and Sue averages who they were a little tentative, a little hesitant initially to tell anyone because, see, they had gone to people before. Open up your questions box. I want to know if this has ever happened to you. You've gone to somebody before, maybe loved ones, friends, maybe Facebook friends, maybe somebody in your Twitter following, and you've told them about a business and maybe things hadn't worked, and you told them about another business. Open up your questions box. I want to see who I'm talking to. And they said something like this to you. When you make money, then come back and talk to me. Has anyone ever said that to you? Put a Y for yes. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Okay. So now what we saw happen, we started seeing our Joe averages and Sue averages as they started generating revenue. They started letting people know, hey, look at what's happening for me. And a lot of people started saying, wait a minute, you're making money? You? I mean, you've tried 50 million things and you've never made money before. But maybe I need to take a look at what you're doing. As a matter of fact, even here in Jubi Rev, one of my great mentors and friends, happened to see him today. It was great to see him, Zeke Stewart. part of the Zeke and Jerry, his lovely wife Jerry Stewart team. They enrolled a young lady named Pat out of Delaware. And I know Pat, she's great people. She would come to all the meetings and all the functions offline, but, you know, she wasn't really good at recruiting. So Zeke tells her, hey, Pat, here's the thing about JubiRev, Jubi Max. You can come and earn on a daily basis once the daily revenue kicks in a few short weeks, even if you don't recruit or sponsor anyone. And so she got excited about that. She came and joined. Well, here's the thing that Zeke wasn't expecting her to do. She goes out and she tells someone else, hey, look, this JubiRev, Jubi Max, you're going to be able to earn daily, even if you don't recruit or sponsor. And guess what? That person said, well, I want in. I cannot recruit. I cannot sponsor. I'll join you. And then Pat went and told somebody else, hey, you could come over here at JubiRev, Jubi Max, maybe make some money on a daily basis, even if you're not good at recruiting or sponsoring. And that person said, well, I could not recruit and I could not sponsor. I can do that. I can do that. And she told a third person, and all of a sudden, she's now building a referral network. This is what we saw. This is what we saw that changed so many people's lives. So next slide. What happens should you refer someone? And that person that you refer, now you're not paid just because you referred someone, because someone registered. You're paid because they did some activity. So maybe they purchased some inventory initially, like many of us will do, and then they start getting their daily rewards. Now, here's the thing you need to understand, is that every day that they get their daily rewards, whatever amount of their rewards go to their inventory bucket in Jubi Bucks, you're going to receive an additional override. You can receive up to a 10% override if you personally enroll someone. Let's go to the next slide. Let me show you what we mean by here. So let's say that you enrolled Maria. Hey, Maria, listen, you come over here to JubiRev, Jubi Max, and you don't have to be a recruiting guru or sponsor anyone. You can still earn on a daily basis. And Maria says, well, I cannot recruit. I'm good at that. I could not sponsor. I'm really good at that. I'll come and join you. All right, well, now, Maria, to earn daily, you need to have a little inventory, give us some inventory away, and, you know, place an ad, help build the brand, and the company's going to pay you. Maria says, well, okay, I can do that. I can do that. Now, when she purchases inventory, she might purchase $10 worth of inventory. She might purchase $2,500 worth of inventory. Well, you could earn up to a 10% override. So if she purchased, let's say, $2,500 worth of inventory, she had the resources, didn't hurt her, you get a $250 override. Well, great. But now, here's the thing. Every night that she generates revenue, that she gets participates in the daily revenue, remember, even if she decides to commission some of that out, she's going to be paid in Jubi Bucks, and a certain amount of that goes into her Jubi Buck column, the inventory. Even if she says, I want 60% paid to me in commissions, the other 40% goes in inventory. Whatever goes into her inventory bucket that night, you get another override of 10%. Oh, wait a minute. So on a Sunday night, she earns 92 Jubi Bucks, goes to her inventory column. You get a 10% override. You earn another 9.2 Jubi Bucks. You can commission up to 60% of that out, or you could opt to give all of that away to generate more Jubi points yourself. But then on Monday night, in this example, she earned 101 Jubi Bucks. You earn another 10% override. And then the next night, she earns 113 Jubi Bucks. You get another 10% override. And this is what we saw. What we saw is Joe averaged, maybe they referred one or two. Maybe in time they built a whole organization. And for our leaders out there that are good at building teams, what we saw is now you weren't getting an override simply because someone in your organization bought a case of juice once a month, no disrespect, where you got a $20 or $25 override once a month. No, you were starting to receive overrides on a daily basis. This is why we say Jubi Rev, Jubi Max. Next slide. At Jubi Rev, Jubi Max, every day can be payday. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there's another tool. I don't have time to really cover it in the time and the way I would like to. It's called our Jubi Suite. I click the next slide. This is going to be one of the hottest things that happens in our industry. We've seen a company that's in the traditional marketing space utilize this tool with such great effectiveness, and without a revenue sharing model, and without even being international, they've almost become a billion-dollar company because of this tool. Because what it does is it creates the right behavior. It rewards team builders. It helps to increase commissions for you and for your teammates. So you're definitely going to want to find out about the Jubi Suite as you come inside. There's some training on it on the inside. Next slide, please. Now, this next slide, ladies and gentlemen, again, I don't have time to explain it. It's kind of goes in conjunction with understanding the Jubi Suite. And you look at those charts, and you look at those 0.5%, and you say, okay, well, on the other slide, he was showing me up to 10%. Well, that doesn't seem exciting. I'm going to tell you, having built 4 7-figure businesses previously, having really focused my energies and efforts and promotional time over the last 2 years in the revenue sharing space, that one chart with the 0.5% could be the biggest money maker. We were just here in Phoenix. We just got through having breaking bread with some of our great teammates that came in from around the country, and we were talking about this chart, and the light bulb went out. Someone said, oh my gosh, I'm going to make more money from this one chart at 0.5% than anything else in the income opportunity. You'll find that out as you come into our system. So if you got excited, next slide, about the daily revenue, if you got excited about, oh my gosh, if I happen to bump into someone that joins me and they make a purchase of inventory and they're earning on a daily basis, my gosh, I'm going to earn on a daily basis myself in overrides, just know that chart of 0.5% could be bigger than anything. All right, so now this is what you're going to do. We're in pre-registration right now. I'm sorry, pre-launch, excuse me. And we do allow you to go on and load funds up into our system, because very, very soon we're going to be able to start making our purchases. One of the things you're going to want to do is decide on a monthly subscription. For instance, if you do the Jubi 15, that means your $15 US dollars a month is going to get you 15 personal use Jubi bucks. That means you can use those personal use Jubi bucks not to give away to generate more points, but you use them to buy things for you and your family. If you're Jubi 50, then $50 a month, you get 50 personal use bucks. Many of you, as you really understand this, you're going to want to be a Jubi 200 if you've got the resources. $200, so I already know, for instance, that for my family, we're going to be Jubi 200. We're going to get at least $200 worth of these tremendous products and the products of the product. Now, next slide. Now, I want you to keep this in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that when you choose your monthly subscription package, that can help you qualify for your ranks. Now, you're not required to have a monthly subscription. You can sell your way, do enough non-promoter business where a customer buys things from you to generate the revenue. But if you choose one of those monthly subscriptions, it gets you the volume needed to hit the certain ranks. Now, why is this important? Well, if you are a Jade promoter, a $15 a month subscription gives you that volume, then all of your Jubi points earn for a whopping 80 days. However, you could actually have your points earned for 85 days if you are Ruby Director. You could have your points earned for 95 days if you were Emerald. Big difference between 95 and 85, or even 85 and 80. And you can even have your Jubi points earned for 105 days. I want you to consider that as you're considering your budget. I'm going to tell you that $200 a month subscription is a tremendous, tremendous value, not only because of the products you're going to get, but because of what that can mean for your Jubi points. Next slide. We'll start in around third here. The other thing that you're going to want to consider as you align with the person who refers you, you'll be able to join us for free, but you want to consider, well, okay, what's my monthly subscription that I choose? What is my amount of Jubi bucks that I want to purchase? Remember, Jubi bucks, that's virtual inventory. So you can purchase like $10 worth, you can purchase $100 worth, you can purchase $2,500 worth. As a matter of fact, now that we're in pre-launch, the company for a very short period of time will allow you to even purchase even more than $2,500 if you like. Some people have already uploaded their systems with, $5,000, $10,000. Again, only do that if you have the resources. Just don't roll and hurt your family. Next slide, please. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we're just about ready to round third here. So what you're going to do is you're going to get back to the person who referred you. You're going to get started with them at their site. You can register for free. Then as you come inside, you'll be able to load your account, load your account with what we call eCash. There's several different loading options that you have there. So you want to be considering your monthly subscription as well as the amount of Jubi bucks that you're going to purchase. At this point, nobody's purchased anything. We're in pre-registration. We're getting ready to get ready. Our manufacturer is just about ready to start shipping product. And so you'll be hearing from the president real soon about when that upgrade button may come live. As a matter of fact, our president is actually going to be doing tomorrow afternoon's a webinar. Yours truly will be in the air going back to my lovely family that I so dearly miss. So our president will be on with us tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern. So please make sure that you plan to be there if your time allows. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, this is what we like to do at this point. Let's go to the next slide. We've got a disclaimer here. We typically, as our custom, after our webinar, and we have finished the presentation part, remember Jubi Rev, Jubi Max, next slide, is not just a company, it's a movement. Here's our disclaimer, legal disclaimer here. Typically what we do is a couple of things. We have a couple of optional sessions right after we finish this part of the webinar, and we normally do a little back office a walkthrough. Since I'm not able to do that from where I am because my internet's been a little intermittent, we're not going to do that tonight. I do want you to make a note, particularly those of you who've been with us and you know how to get in your back office, is that in your back office there's a new tab that says Corporate Overview. If you click on that tab, the company just released, I think on Tuesday night, company just released the official compensation PDF so that you can look at the compensation, all 10 ways the company is going to pay at a glance. Now, we will be doing, have already done, and will continue to do some training videos that you'll be able to access for those of you that are more of your analytical engineering types that want to know how everything works. So if you go through that document and you understand it, great. If you go through that document and there's a couple of things that you don't quite get, don't worry about it because we'll be doing some training videos, and we'll also be talking about that on some of our webinars as well, particularly some training type webinars. Okay, so that is there for you. What I want to do now is I want to just tell you a little bit about some highlights of what happened out here with our presidential meet and greet, and then we're going to open up for a question and answer session. And since we've not had a Q&A session for the last couple of webinars, we normally do about a 15-minute session. We might do 20 or even 25 minutes if my cell phone has enough battery to last that long. Okay, let me just tell you a little bit about what happened here, guys. This was absolutely amazing. And if you're a guest, feel free to stick around. I want you to be mindful that, again, the company, before anyone even loaded any funds, I think the company had already given away about $5,000 in webinar promotions that we had over a few-week time period. And then the day that we were ready for folks to start loading funds, the company gave away $4,000. So the company's given away like $9,000 in promotions. Well, we came out here to the meet and greet, and J. Joshua Beisel, our president, thought it was important. He knew that a lot of people maybe weren't going to be able to make it because of short notice, or that people were positioning themselves to load funds to purchase their inventory, so on and so forth. But he felt like it was important that people knew that there was that open door. And so we did have folks that flew in. We had folks that were within a few hours' drive of the area. And we met at a really nice Marriott. And yesterday was amazing. I didn't expect this. If you know the name Jerry DeRino Clark, put a yes in your questions box. If you've heard of Jerry Clark is one of the top trainers in this home business industry. There's some really great trainers out there in this industry, and Jerry is probably one of the top 5 or top 10 trainers. Companies have brought Jerry in. I know I met Jerry some time ago, and I've gotten a lot of his training material, and I'm going to tell you there was one tool of his that I used that really revolutionized my business, and I learned it first at one of his trainings. And I got this whole audio series and what have you. It's called The Magic of Colors. It was just phenomenal what it did to our business. So Jerry Clark's training has really impacted our business. When I first met Jerry, I hadn't built my first seven-figure business yet. We were on our way to it, but I hadn't built the first seven-figure business yet. After getting Jerry's training, and of course I had other mentors that helped to propel us to that first seven-figure business. Well, our president flew out this speaker who has garnered as much as $300,000 in a speaking engagement to be with us on the first day of the event. Ladies and gentlemen, that's class. That's huge. And Jerry just didn't give us 12. He gave us some real tools to help us build our business. So we got a chance to meet those who came out, obviously got a chance to meet the president and really capture his vision and his heart. He then took us over to his company. Remember, he's the CEO and founder of the world's largest independent call center for the network marketing industry. We were in the Mesa, Arizona area right outside of Phoenix. And his offices, I should say, are there. So we had a chance to go and tour his office. Well, I didn't know how we were going to get there, you know, because some people flew in and the taxi brought them over to the hotel. I rented a car, so I was prepared to drive. Only there were two big old Hummer limos, I mean big stretch limos, that came and picked us up. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I've had companies, you know, pick me up in a limo before, but only because I had been a top producer and had generated a lot of revenue for the company. So for the fact that there hasn't been the first sale yet, I'm thinking, man, this is classy. So now we go over to his offices, and let me tell you what I took from that. All right, we probably saw about 60 employees working, some in the call center, some technical people. By the way, he had a videographer the entire time. So we got this guy with the videos walking. So many of you are going to see a lot of takes from yesterday as well as today. He had a professional photographer there, so a lot of people that were there got a chance to take pictures and do some video and what have you. So they'll be able to show their team, hey, I was there when, you know, before the company even really got off the ground. What we saw was this. This is a man, not only with tremendous vision, this is important here, he understands how to run a company. So we're seeing like 60 some odd folks that are, you know, working. They're doing their thing. And to see the commitment level, I mean, we got a chance to meet folks that have been with him for years, and the commitment level that we saw them exhibit as employees. And I said, oh my gosh, this guy has executive experience. Now, I've said that on webinars because I understood, but to see it with my own eyes, oh my gosh. And we did it again today. We picked us up in a nice big old stretch limo. And so I want you to imagine there were quite a few Joe and Susie averages that had never walked across stage, never got any great accolades in this industry. And here, their first introduction to the president, they're ushered away in a limo. Ladies and gentlemen, I am telling you, the folks that came here, the belief level. A lot of people came out here. They were in JubiRev, Jubi Max. But JubiRev, Jubi Max may not have been in them just yet. You know, they're being analytical, and they should. There's a lot of stuff out there on the internet. You got to be careful. But man, I am telling you, woman, I am telling you, so many people walked away saying, this is it. I found my home. And I'm an emotional guy. I'm a passionate guy, if you haven't figured out. But I'm not one that's, you know, just going to cry a lot, and certainly not in public. That's not something that I tend to do. And I know ladies don't beat me up. I know. But that's just not something I tend to do. But I sat there for a moment, and the tears begin to well up, because I know I'll be successful no matter what. You know, we understand the skill set of building this type business, so on and so forth. We've done it 4 times before building a 7-figure business, so, you know, our mindset is there. But I sat there with tears welling up, thinking about my Joe average and thinking about my Sue average. There's a lot of great income opportunities out there, but many of them are not built on a solid foundation of real products and services, and a lot of them don't have true visionary leadership with a heart that understands the field, that has a we are going to win together mentality. The president and I got a chance to spend quite a bit of time alone together last evening, and I got a chance to really hear his heart, his vision of where he wants his company to go and where we are now. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, he's already 5, 10 years down the road. And see, that was important for me to hear, that he wasn't a year down the road. He wasn't 18 months down the road. Don't want to be in an 18-month deal, 24-month deal. He was 5, 10 years down the road. So if you've been looking for a home, ladies and gentlemen, open up those question boxes, and we're going to go into an optional Q&A. If you've been looking for a home, and I want to tell you, I know there's a lot of stuff out there online. A lot of folks have gotten involved in these little deals out there. I'm never going to rain on anyone's entrepreneurial or investment parade. A lot of people in high-yield investment programs. You've got to be careful of those things. Here's your litmus test. Here's your litmus test. Does the company, does the income opportunity that you are involved in, does it have real products or services, or in our case, will it have real products and services, as we've not launched that part yet, coming very soon? Will it have real products and services that consumers not related to the income opportunity are going to want to participate in? If the answer to that is no, then you've got an income opportunity built on a sandy foundation, built on sand. If the answer to that is yes, and you've got a revolutionary compensation plan that allows Joe and Susie average, not just Joe and Susie superstar, to win, and you've got visionary leadership, and you've got phenomenal timing because only a few tens of thousands of folks even know the name Jubi Rev, Jubi Max, then ladies and gentlemen, I hope that along with me, you'll plant your flag and say, I have found my home. I know I have. All right, let's get into some Q&A here. All right. Johnny is asking, will we have a point retirement calendar? For those of you who are not aware of what a points retirement calendar is, it's a calendar so that when you earn Jubi points, let's say you earn Jubi points tonight, you can look into the future and know the date that those Jubi points would retire, meaning the date that those Jubi points would stop earning, because all of our Jubi points are going to have a life cycle of about 80 days, 85 days, 95 days, or maybe 105 days. So the answer to Johnny's question is yes, there is going to be a point retirement calendar. Now, Johnny, by the time we get to that, it may not, I'm assuming it's going to be ready from day one that the daily revenue starts. If it takes 2 or 3 or 4 days, then just understand that's from a programming standpoint. There's still a lot of things that are going on. But yes, there will be a point retirement calendar, which is very important for you determining, your strategy from a commission, how much commission do I want to take out standpoint. Thank you for that question, sir. All right, Tyron is asking. Tyron, by the way, is one of our tremendous leaders. He's been on the board, personal enrollee board, really since day one. But what's really impressive is the thousands of people that are in his organization doing a phenomenal job. All right, so how does the car bonus work for international members? Well, the car bonus is going to work for international members the way that it works for those in the U.S. Once you qualify for the car bonus, and again, if you go under the corporate overview tab, you can pull out the PDF and it gives you your qualifiers. It's a fairly simple qualification. One thing that's different with our car bonus and maybe some other companies that we've seen, and we're never here to downplay or to down talk any other companies, all right, so please understand that. We want to see other companies, and even other companies that have a revenue sharing model, we want to see them succeed. The more the merrier. But one of the things that we've seen with some companies with the car bonus program, where you could qualify very easily, is some companies allow you to qualify for a car bonus program with volume that's not necessarily residual. Like for instance, if we allowed you to qualify for the car bonus program because someone joined you, and let's say they made a $2,500 purchase of Jubi Bucks, and we allowed that one-time purchase to go towards your car bonus program. Well, that doesn't happen every month. You know, that person's not going to come back every month and buy $2,500 necessarily. And so our car bonus is based on your monthly group qualifying volume, or monthly qualifying group volume, I think is the terminology, MQGV. So once you hit it, you know it's based on residual. Now this is what's going to happen. So let's say you qualify, you're going to have your choice. You're either going to be able to go out and buy a new, a used, or lease either a BMW, a Mercedes, a Corvette, or a Porsche. And if you decide to go one of those routes, and maybe you already have a Mercedes, all right, you already, paying on the Mercedes, I think you'll have to have some type of maybe a little sticker or something that that promotes Jubi, because this is really like an advertising type bonus, if you will. Then you'll get $700. Now, if for whatever reason you decide not to get one of those types of vehicles, or maybe you're living in a particular part of the world where getting that type of vehicle in your part of the world is something that's easily done, then you could opt not to get the vehicle, and then you would have $350 that would be allocated to you. Remember, the reason for the $700 car bonus is it's advertising as well. Many of you are familiar with a particular company where the ladies who qualify, the dudes who qualify, will drive a pink Cadillac. So it's almost like every time you see a pink Cadillac, mentally you already know, oh, there's a good likelihood that person is promoting XYZ company. That's the whole idea of the car bonus as an advertising. So if a person that chooses not to get a car, or maybe cannot receive the car because of the area of the world that they're in, they can still receive a really healthy additional bonus that would be allocated to their e-cash. Great question. Great question. Okay? All right. Will we be able to give existing customers more Jubi Bucks? Will you be able to give existing customers more Jubi Bucks when they run out? Thank you, Joe. I appreciate that, buddy. Yes, the answer to that is yes. Okay, so let's say that you have Kim customer. She registers with you, and you've given her some Jubi Bucks. Now, what I don't know is I don't know what the maximum amount of Jubi Bucks you're going to be able to give her at the moment that she registers. I don't know that yet. Okay, but let's say you can give her. Let's say you gave her 100 Jubi Bucks. Okay, you gave her 100 Jubi Bucks. The max might be 500 Jubi Bucks. I don't know that to be true, so don't go and say the max is 500 Jubi Bucks. So if you've given her 100, and now you earned some additional Jubi Bucks as a reward that night, you're going to be able to go back and give her more Jubi Bucks. And then I think, this is me talking, not corporate. This is me talking, not corporate. This is just what I've heard in conversation. Even when you have given Kim the maximum amount that the system is going to allow you to give, again, I don't know what that number is, if Kim uses those Jubi Bucks, so maybe you've given her the maximum amount. Let's say for the purposes of this example, only, this is me talking, not corporate. Let's say the max you can give is 300 Jubi Bucks. You've given her over time 300 Jubi Bucks. That's, for example, purposes only. But she uses Jubi Bucks. And I haven't seen how that's going to look yet, but I know that programming is already working on that, where you'll be able to see, oh, Kim used Jubi Bucks. Even though you've given her the maximum, if she is using Jubi Bucks, the system's going to allow you to give her more. Why? Let's think this through. If she's using her Jubi Bucks, that means she is using the product. She's becoming a customer. So is it better for us, is it easier for us to have a new customer use Jubi Bucks, or is it easier for us to have an existing customer that is already proven to use the Jubi Bucks to give them more Jubi Bucks? It's almost like this. Is it easier for a company to generate a new customer, or to have a customer that's already transacting with them and get them to transact more. And so the answer to your question is, yes, you're going to be able to give Jubi Bucks to existing customers. There'll be a limit to the number you can give them initially. Once you hit that limit, but if that customer continues to use Jubi Bucks, guess what? You're going to be able to give them more. Isn't that great? Isn't that great? Because remember, what is the lifeblood of any company? Hear me. Customers. The lifeblood of any company, customers that buy and buy and buy again and again and again. So what's the concept of building teams or building a promoter network? To have more people that help to get more products into the hands of more customers. And that's where, on the revenue sharing side, you're going to see Jubi Rev, Jubi Max lead the revenue sharing revolution, because some companies in the revenue sharing world didn't capture that the end result was, let's get some customers. J. Joshua Beisel understands that, and the rest of the management team. Great question. Okay. Give me a moment. Matthew asks, do you know how to load funds to your Jubi account using the green dot method? Yes, Matthew, and as a matter of fact, if you go in your My Account, top left-hand corner, My Account, 1, My Financials, 2. Of course, you have to put in the PIN code for a security measure to go to the next part of the site, and you're going to see where it says eCash, 3. My Account, My Financials, eCash. Then you're going to see where it says Jubi Account. There is a PDF, I want to say on the bottom right-hand corner, that has the instructions of how you can load funds into the Jubi account with the various methods. The green dot is one of those various methods. It's really simple. You go down to a location, and there's a link there where you can even search for locations near you. You go down to a location that offers a green dot money pack card. Let's say a local Walmart or maybe a Walgreens. You go in there, you pick up the green dot money pack card, and normally there's going to be a small load fee. I've never heard more than $5 to load. Depending on where you are, where I go, I can load with $1,000 US. So I would pay just under $5 to load $1,000 US. So I give them $1,000 or $500 or whatever it is at the counter. They load that card. You treat that card like you would cash. On the back of the card, there's a scratch-off number. When you go to the Money Pack website, you feed into the system that scratch-off number, and they're going to ask you for the what are you loading it to. Let's say you're loading it to like a debit card, because your Jubi account will give you a debit card number. And all you got to do is go in your back office and put in that number. Now, everything I just told you is actually in that document. Okay, so everything I just told you is in that document. Again, you'll find that document, My Account, My Financials, put in your PIN code, eCash, Jubi Account. I want to say that document might be at the bottom right. That's what I want to say. Okay, great question, buddy. All right, someone is asking with the Jubi account. The Jubi account is, by the way, if you're new with us, the Jubi account is a way that you can have a virtual bank account, and it also will have the debit card. It's a great way to load funds, pay into our system, where you have eCash and then you can make your purchases. And it's going to be a phenomenal way to get paid out from the system. Excuse me, to receive commissions. It's going to be a lot less fee intensive to receive commissions that way than maybe systems like Solid Trust Pay or Payza or what have you. All right, now so the Jubi account is going to have this back end bank account or virtual bank account, and the question is, can you pay bills or do online banking with that? Julio, by the way, I've got to compliment you. My gosh, man. Julio, you enrolled Wooter. Wooter enrolled Frank. Frank is still #1 in the company in personal enrollees, probably at over 1,200 personal enrollees. That is a credit, my friend, to your leadership, to Wooter's leadership. You guys are phenomenal, phenomenal leaders, and we certainly appreciate you. That's a great question, Julio, to which I do not have a great answer. I'm not sure if that virtual banking account allows you to do bill pay. Wait a minute. Let me think. Yeah, I think it does, Julio. I think it allows you to do bill pay, but please put an asterisk because I'm going on information that's a couple weeks old. I think it allows you to do a bill pay, but I think the way it works, it may not be like your traditional bank with bill pay. With your traditional bank, some banks don't charge any monthly fee. Some may charge a small monthly fee. I think the way that one works, my friend, is that every bill that's paid from the system is its own independent fee. I want to say maybe $1 and some change. So even though it may do that, that may not be the most cost-efficient way if you have other ways to utilize a bill pay system. But I'm almost certain, sir, that it can do some form of bill pay. Again, it just may not be the most efficient depending on a person's circumstance, okay? James asked, does our manufacturer already make other products that are similar to ours for other companies? Let me let you in on something in this industry, is that, and not just in this industry, just even in traditional businesses, manufacturers tend to manufacture for a lot of different companies, and they'll put on a different label. So the formulations may be slight, you know, maybe a little more of this ingredient with this company and a little less of that ingredient with another company. But if you go to your grocery store, for instance, and you go down the aisle and you're getting a can of green beans, well, you may have one, maybe that store's name brand on it, and then you may have more of a name brand, and in many cases, it's still manufactured from the same place. It's just different brand names, okay? So that's no different in the home business space when a company's manufacturing for, let's say, a wellness product or what have you. A lot of manufacturers will manufacture for a lot of different companies, both in the work-at-home space and even companies that are not in the like MLM space. So yes, our manufacturer manufactures some like products that may be on some other company shelves. Our formulation may be slightly different. The manufacturer has its own formulator, and you know, has met with management to determine what type of product line, so on and so forth. And so the formulation may be just slightly different. Okay. Give me just a moment. Okay, Ricky is asking a great question. We've got a phenomenal, and I am remiss because I didn't mention it, and I do apologize. We've got a tremendous Founders promotion, Founders bonus going on. It goes between now, really started last week, and next Friday, March the 15th. The way it goes is that when you load funds into your system, the upgrade button is going to go live here over the next few days. I don't want to say give a day and then we miss that day, you know, if we miss about a day or two. But the upgrade button where you can actually purchase product. And what the company's been waiting for is for the AOK from the manufacturer. And I'm hearing the manufacturer is just about ready to say, we're ready to send out product. The company did not want you making purchases until the product was ready to be sent. I know many of you have asked questions, when are we going to be able to see the products? When are we going to be able to see the ingredients? You're going to see that just as soon as the manufacturer is ready to ship, which could be in just a few very short days. Okay, now, with that being said, to the question, wait a minute, I forgot what the question was. Give me a moment. Oh, all right, so to the question. So someone says, I'm using one of the loading methods, but some of the loading methods take a little bit longer than others for my funds to actually hit the account. If I have initiated some type of load method, but my funds are not in my system by March 15th, I want to make sure I'm not going to miss my founder's bonus or promotion. Here's the beautiful part about those loading systems. It communicates internally with the company system. So for instance, if you have a wire on the way, but you have communicated with the company based on the wire instructions, the company knows it. If you are doing an ACH, Ricky, if you're doing an ACH, when you went through that process, guess what? The company knows it. And so if you are in process of loading funds and for whatever reason the funds haven't hit by March 15th, but the company sees that the process has already begun, then you will still get the founders, you'll still be in the founders promotion, you'll still get the founders bonus. And please make sure that your teammates know that. Now, I don't want them waiting until March the 14th, okay? But let your teammates know that so that they're not frantic. Oh my gosh, it may take, depending on the method, 7 days. Do I have enough time? Okay, just have them to get the process started. Great question. Great question. Guys, we're going to give it another 5 minutes here, okay? Give me a moment. Okay, so someone is asking, can you upgrade your monthly subscription, let's say from Jade, that's $15 a month, from Jade to, let's say you want to upgrade to Diamond. So you've got Jade, Ruby, Emerald, Diamond that you can upgrade to, and then there's a 1-star, company may call it 1 carat. I want to go with 1 carat, but I don't know if it's going to be 1 carat or 1 star. Let's call it 1-star Diamond, 2-star Diamond, and then Presidential. You don't upgrade from Jade to Presidential. Someone was asking the question. You can upgrade from Jade to Ruby, or Jade to Emerald, or Jade to Diamond. All right, so now, can a person upgrade? So if they started off with Jade, and they say, man, you know what, I might be missing the boat. I need to upgrade $15 a month. I need to upgrade to Diamond, $200 a month. Can you do that within that 30-day cycle? The answer to that is yes, but now here's going to be the deal. You're not going to be paying the difference. You're not going to say, okay, I'm at $15. I want to upgrade to $200 at the Diamond. Do I pay the difference? No, what happens is you would upgrade, let's say, to the $200 a month subscription, and then that's going to reset. That upgrade is then going to reset your monthly anniversary. So let's say, for instance, that a person upgraded on the 15th of the month, originally at the Jade $15 a month subscription. And then 2 weeks down the road, they decide, you know what, it makes more sense for me to be Diamond. Let me upgrade to Diamond. Well, 2 weeks down the road, they upgrade to Diamond, $200 a monthly subscription, but that's going to then reset their monthly anniversary so that their $200 a month subscription would not be due for another 30 days after that second upgrade. So hopefully that answers that question. Great question. Give me a moment here. Give me a moment, okay? Okay. Someone just mentioned something, and let me make sure that this doesn't happen to anyone else. Someone says, I made a mistake, and I loaded my funds to the green dot prepaid card. So I'm assuming that's like a debit card, as opposed to maybe a money pack card. I'm assuming that's what happened. So Nedra says, now I have to wait for the card in the mail to take the funds back, then get new money packs. Any other suggestions? Well, Nedra, this is what I would have you to do, okay? What I would have you to do is I'd like you, if you have a receipt that shows that you loaded to that card and what you loaded to that card, because there was a mistake there, if you can make a copy of that receipt I would have you to send a support ticket. Let support know that you were on a webinar and that yours truly directed you to send a support ticket, and to then upload an attachment with that particular receipt. And what you want is you want support to be aware that you did attempt to load. There was a mistake there, because I want to make sure that you went through that action. I want to make sure that even if it takes a little bit longer for your card to come in, for you to do the whole money pack thing there, that you get the credit that you would have gotten had that mistake not been made. Okay? All right, so step one, if you happen to have the receipt where it shows how much you loaded, okay? If you've got that, make a copy of it. That's step one. Step two, go to your left-hand column in your back office, click on support, send a support ticket. Let them know you were on the webinar and Lamont suggested that you load up with a receipt. If support has a question, they'll get in touch with me, and since this is not something that we deal with all the time, I'll remember, oh yeah. Let's make sure that management understands that so that she gets the credit. I want to just make sure you don't miss out on your founder's promotion, okay? Okay, you uploaded online, but I would imagine if you uploaded online, there should be some type of tracking mechanism, shouldn't there? Maybe you got a receipt emailed to you. So if you uploaded online, hopefully you got some type of receipt or some type of proof of what you did, because typically you would get some type of receipt to let you know, or transaction ID or what have you. So if you would just kind of backtrack there, okay? All right, let's see if there are any other questions here. So I want to ask, why is the business not based in the U.S.? Well, it's not just going to be a U.S. business, ladies and gentlemen. We're already very, very worldwide. Now, obviously, what the company wants to do is it still wants to comply with all of the rules and regulations as it relates to this type of business and this type of model in the U.S., but there are very strategic reasons why the company is doing things on an international scale. It's an international business. There are, for instance, there are some very stringent rules and regulations in the U.S., and of course the company wants to comply with those very stringent rules and regulations in the U.S. There are other countries where the regulations are not nearly as stringent. And so the company is building globally and not just focusing on the U.S. We've seen other companies in our industry and the revenue sharing industry that the bulk of the revenue that was generated didn't come from the U.S. anyway. And so part of the visionary leadership of J. Joshua Beisel is to recognize the global scope of the company. As a matter of fact, the company will very, very soon, and I won't say any more than this because I don't want to overstep my bounds, but the company very, very soon will be opening up its first non-U.S. office here in the next few short weeks. So you'll hear more about that, and I know the company already has plans in the next few months to open up another office in another country, and so on and so forth. We are truly a global business. All right, great question. Give me a moment. All right, so someone is asking, they say, if someone upgrades their promoter and they get started at the Jade Director, they choose a $15 a month subscription, they get to the Jade Director, but then because of upgrades that are happening within their team, could that get them promoted to Diamond? Let's understand how we get the various ranks. Okay, this is going to answer your question, Bridget. You're a phenomenal leader, young lady. I am so proud of you. You're going to hit your ranks based on your personal volume. Essentially, what did you buy if you bought anything? Now, from a legal standpoint in the U.S., you cannot require that a promoter, a rep, an affiliate, a distributor has to buy the product. That would be considered a pay-to-play. Legally, you cannot have require someone to pay to play. Okay, a person has to be able to generate sales from non-promoters. So if I never purchase a subscription, can I still become a Jade or a Ruby or an Emerald or a Diamond Director? The answer is yes. I'm required to have a certain amount of volume. Either that's going to come from me purchasing it, which is an optional, I don't have to, or it's going to come from me selling it to a non-promoter. Me recruiting a promoter and that promoter purchasing his or her subscription does not impact my my personal rank. So if I get a $15 a month Jade subscription and I referred Gina and she does a $200 a month subscription, I referred her, I enrolled her. Her $200 a month subscription does not get me a promotion, okay? Because her $200 a month subscription was done by a promoter. Now, if Gina was not a promoter and Gina came to my site and she purchased $200 worth of product, now that is a non-promoter customer transaction. That's a customer sale. That transaction would count for my volume for the month. And in that example, if it was $200 in business volume that she purchased, then that would give me the diamond rank for that month. I tend to believe that with these ranks, that a person should consider the path of least resistance. And if you purchase enough product to get you there, and you've got the resources, then go that route. That's the path of least resistance. So great question, and hopefully now you understand that that rank is going to be based on either one's personal purchase will get me there, or a non-promoter sale, a customer transaction from someone who is not a promoter. Ladies and gentlemen, there are still other great questions, and I wish we had time to get to all of your phenomenal questions. Unfortunately, time doesn't allow. My throat's getting scratchy. I've got to get on a plane very early in the morning. So with this, ladies and gentlemen, be mindful tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern, our president will be on, and he will be the one that will be leading the income opportunity. You come right back here at JubiRevWebinar.com. Invite all of your guests, invite all of your teammates to hear the president as he shares the income opportunity from his perspective tomorrow at 12 noon. For those of you that had a chance to meet the president and are back or will be traveling, please be careful in your travels. The next time, prayerfully, that you'll hear our voice will be on next week, on next Monday, as we get back to the webinars. We love each and every one of you. Thank you so much, Mrs. Ayabumi Moore, my very trusted person that's been doing the slides. Thank you so much. For everyone on the other side of the webinar, we love each and every one of you. Let's change the world together, starting with yours. Have a phenomenal weekend. Remember, Jubi Rev is not just a company, it's a movement. Good night, everyone.